to 50.
Good morning.
Hello, Erica.
How are you?
Good.
Which he's not going to be available. We'll try to see people from Maui. Jake is from Maui.
We have Rose, John, Cindy, Marie, and Rich.
I'm waiting for Andrew and Tim. Andrew and Tim from Maui. Supposed to be on here.
Got it. Click on the blue link. All right, there's Maria. So now you have a quorum.
Is Maria making the meeting today?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I didn't even see your name on there. We have Cindy. Oh wait, we have Cindy, Maria, Rosemary. Is John making it?
As far as I know, he is.
Okay.
We'll just wait another minute for him.
Can you see me too? I can see you, but you don't see me, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have your camera on.
I don't? Okay.
Are you still there?
Like this?
There you
Yeah.
are.
There you go.
Hi. Rosemary, I see you.
Okay, we have a quorum and I'm assuming John is going to come, but we'll let him catch up when he gets here. Now that we have Tim on, I don't want him to wait for us to get going. So it's 9:01 a.m. and I'm going to call the meeting to order. We have a quorum with Maria and Cindy and myself. We have proof of notice. I'd like to, can we push the minutes, the president report and the treasurer back and go right to old business?
Yes.
Because I don't want Tim sitting around here listening to all our silliness.
No problem.
Okay, so we're gonna shoot over to old business, elevator modification proposals with Andrew and Tim from Mari Elevators. We submitted a few questions that we had received so that you'd have a heads up of some of the stuff we were going to ask you today. Did you get that?
Yeah, I got it. This is Andrew. I'm Andrew, by the way, everybody. How you doing?
Good. Can you, do you want to just go over the list yourself and then?
Yeah, sure, we
Okay,
can.
Yeah, Andrew and I got the list last week and we went through everything, so we're prepared to answer each one of those at this time.
Okay,
Right.
the first one regarding price reduction. Yes, if you look on part 8 of the modernization proposal that I originally sent, we listed a discount of $2,800 if all 9 buildings agree
That's per
per building.
building.
So there'll be a $2,800 per building reduction in the modernization cost.
yeah, that was like, I think someone calculated at about 4%. Would there be a little leeway in that to knock it up a little bit, maybe 6% or?
We have to know, we'd have to decide when you guys agree, because the pricing for raw materials and supply chains, as you guys know, is fluctuating so much up and down every single day. So before you guys are ready to commit, if that time comes, Tim and I would have to have a conversation. We would let you know then.
With that being said, for the sake of us talking today and trying to hammer out the final details, we can go to 5% today. Going anything more than that, and it's so risky with everything we're dealing with the supply lines are just absolutely volatile for us and a lot of other industries. But we can go to 5% today for this meeting.
Okay, great. Number 2,
Yeah, your current service contract, you guys are, I don't know, it was just a statement, but your contract is good now until August of 23.
August of 2023, okay.
Correct.
No, we wanted to, if we agree to go with you for all these buildings, we wanted to renegotiate that contract and look at
Yeah.
some there is what
Yes,
the question.
We didn't understand that's what you meant by that, but I will tell you that is a very good idea to do that, mainly because we're offering extended warranties as well. So, and we have to tie in the extended warranties with the maintenance contract because they do go hand in hand. So I think that would be a very good idea to do once everything's started going forward.
Because there is an annual increase built into the agreement. I can't recall now what it was. Is it 3%? What is
I believe so. I believe it caps it at 3%.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the other thing is related to that is we wanted to have the telephone monitoring at no charge. We've been offered that by other companies.
Okay. Done.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. You drive a hard bargain.
Well, hey, we got every penny.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, number 3,
Yeah, question was the condition of the elevator pits. We spoke to Eddie and the technicians out there, and it's nothing out of the ordinary, minimal water intrusion, nothing that we haven't seen in other elevators in Florida.
Are the seals and everything intact and all that's functioning correctly?
Yeah, the hydraulic seals, and just so you know, with your maintenance contract, anytime we have to replace those seals, it is included. It's not an additional charge. So whether we replace them once a year or 3 times a year, that is something that's included in your maintenance contract. As far as the pits themselves, the walls and everything, do we see a little bit of moisture sometimes? Yes, we see that in 90% of our elevator pits in Florida, but we don't see anything that is excessive like we have in some pretty unique situations where we have pits flooding with 3 foot of water a month. We're not really getting any kind of conditions like that in your pits.
Okay, and you said Eddie did inspect all the pits.
Yes, that's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
okay, number 4.
Okay, that says the bid does not show line item pricing for each component. Not all elevators should be same. We don't break out pricing per components. I mean, there's 10,000 components in an elevator. It would take me a year to put that together. So we don't break out our pricing. We give you what's called the GMP, guaranteed maximum price, based on what you need. Now, if we go out there, if we come to an agreement, we do our final field survey, and Tim sees something that's not needed out there, then it would be a deduction at that point in time.
Right, and we talked about this when we met in, at the site. And that is, so if we have the signed proposals, let's say we had it today, we would schedule next week to go do the on-site surveys of each and every building, which takes about 2 hours per building to do. If we find that a current door operator had been installed on the elevator in the past couple of years and it meets the current code, we will notify you of that and say, this item can be removed and this is what the deduction out of the quote is going to be. So we'll have to do that per building for each one of them once the engineering is done.
Okay, we knew you said that at the meeting, but our understanding was that that was going to be included in the bid so that when things were taken off, we could see, yes, that's what we were told this cost.
Yeah, no, it has to be done after the proposals are signed because it's very time consuming to do these surveys. And we only do it once we have the green light going forward. But the point is that the quote that we're submitting you, it won't be any more than that. Depending on what we find, it could be less.
Okay.
And I had, go ahead, I'm sorry.
The reality of it is whatever they find, like Tim mentioned, a door operator, if it's not going to be something major like a new controller that was already put out there, it's going to be something minor that could be, not a big difference.
Proximity edge.
Yeah.
It could be a door operator. It could be, sealing an exhaust fan, certain components on the car top, things along this nature.
And that would be for the complete modernization.
That's correct. That's right.
Okay, so a question to that point would be, if we chose not to do the modernization and just to upgrade the codes, the Florida codes, would we still have to put it in the air conditioners in the control rooms?
No.
Okay.
If you don't do a modernization, you're not only when you do a modernization or you change the brain of the elevator, the controller, are you required to make the climate control changes to the elevator machine room. So that does not trigger having to do the air conditioning if you do not do the mod.
And if we do just the code updates, are our elevators capable of handling that new, the door, closing the door thing?
Door limit monitoring, yes. If you do not do the mod, you have to do the door limit monitoring change to the elevators, which depending on exactly what's needed per elevator, it's $18,000 to $22,000, right around there. You will meet the code, but I do want to caution you. If you decide to do the mod 2 years later, everything that you're putting into the elevator for this DLM to meet the DLM code will be taken out and thrown out. It will not be retained. It cannot be retained. So, again, you have to consider that 18 to 22,000 you're going to be putting towards a new mod is going to be able to last the next 30 years. Whereas just meeting the DLM, it's only going to last until you decide to do the mod.
And what is the cost just to do that?
The DLM?
The DLM.
18 to 22,000.
That's per
elevator. Yeah.
Okay, so let's go to number 5, which we kind of just covered part of.
Yeah, guarantees will all codes be met, no additional charges for additional work.
If you do the modernization, yes. The only thing that you're not replacing under the full modernization is your cylinder that's in the ground. And your cylinder that's in the ground, there's no code that says you have to change it. You should have a budget in place in case you ever need to change it. But all we can do is do the annual pressure test in the presence of the elevator inspector to make sure your cylinder is not leaking underground and that it has the wall thickness integrity that it needs to run safely. Other than that, and you're not doing that in the modernization, other than that, everything you're doing in the mod will meet all the current codes. And even if a code changes a year from now, you will not be required to adapt to that because it'll go from this date forward is all you have to meet.
Okay, number 7.
Well, you skipped 6, timeline per elevator and start
Oh,
date.
I'm sorry. Yes.
That's okay. Timeline, you're looking at the modernization, 3 to 4 weeks per elevator. The start date, it all depends on you guys. When, if you guys commit,
Right.
we have to do final field survey and then manufacturing time of about 8 to 10 weeks. So it would start, if you were to tell me today, okay, Andrew, here's a letter of intent, let's get going. Tim will have his crew go out there within the next couple of weeks, do a final field survey. After that, we'll process it. So you're probably talking
3 months.
3 months before we could start.
Right.
Okay, and then each elevator that you're working on, would you be doing 2 at a time?
Yeah, we believe again, this also relates to, whenever you schedule this in, but it is our intention to have 2 elevators or 2 buildings done at the same time.
And would it be an issue because the first 2 we would like to do would be 181 and 281, since they're not next to each other? Would that
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't matter. Since all the buildings are within a very close proximity to each other, it doesn't matter what order you put them in. We would just do it in the order that you would like.
And then 3 to 4 weeks. So let's just say 4 weeks. So you complete 181 and 281 in approximately 4 weeks' time. Would you then immediately begin 2 more?
If you're okay with that, yes. Our plan would be to go building to building to building to building until we've knocked them all out.
Right, but if you would complete that and now it's January, we really wouldn't want to have 2 elevators down for 4 weeks in season like that. So would we be able to push it back and say to you, come back in May?
All final scheduling is the final decision on that is you all. We would work out the schedule and say, okay, we can do it then. And you would either say yes or no, I don't want it. I don't want buildings being done between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we'll lay out we'll probably have to sit down for about a half hour with calendars and plug them in. But the final say so is you all.
Okay, so that doesn't affect the pricing or anything like that if we, okay.
Keep in mind, the code has to be met by the end of next year.
Yeah, December,
Correct.
the end of December of 23.
Right, but you also said that most likely they're going to give an extension if you're under contract, so we shouldn't really be sweating it out,
Please understand that is what I am
assuming.
thinking. Please note that I have got no confirmation of that. I am hoping, because we're seeing the backlog is getting already tremendous, and there's probably only 15% of the people in Florida are taking this seriously and being proactive doing it now, like you all are. So I'm hoping that's what it is, but please note that is not anything that's guaranteed.
Okay. Number 7,
Discounts if elevator down longer than promised. It's not going to happen. We'll be done.
Yeah.
We'll be done.
We have done, we're currently doing 130 elevator project, a community that's 130 elevators. And I'm not bragging here. I am just telling you what we have been able to master. And that is, we have a machine to where we are in and out within the 3 to 4 weeks. And we have stuck to it, and we're really good at it. And we're really good at pushing the other subcontractors to have their work done before we even start, so that we're not even held up by people that we have no control over. So, yeah.
I'm assuming you're meaning the electric.
Electric, fire alarm, air conditioning. Yep. We want them to do almost all of their work, or as much as they can, while the elevator is still running, prior to us kicking off the project with our stuff, meaning when we take the elevators out of service.
Okay, so your timeline is set at 3 to 4 weeks, but if the electrician comes in and he has an issue or a problem, or the fire alarm or the AC, then that's going to delay you at no fault of your own.
Right, but yeah, but we want them to have problems while I'm still in manufacturing, right? Because your elevator is still running.
Right.
So that's what we've really come to master. The AC guy does not need to turn the elevator off to do all the work that he has to do. The electric guy can turn the elevator off for 4 hours at a time, at a scheduled time with my guys there, and you all knowing when we're going to shut it off so that they can do their work. So we want that happening when the elevator is still being used by the people in the building. And that's what we've come to master.
So the elevator aren't going to be completely down for that 3 to 4 weeks? Is that what you're saying?
No, it will be down for the 3 to 4 weeks. Yes, it will, because it's like a car that we're changing the engine in. We can't change the engine while you're driving on the Florida Turnpike. It's down. But when the elevator does not need to be down for the fire alarm, electrical, and AC for most of what they're doing, and the work that they need the elevator down for, we're going to have them do it in the 3 to 4 weeks that we have the elevator down while we're doing the mod.
Okay, so it won't be after you're finished, then they come in and do their thing. It'll all be at the same time.
When we turn and tighten the last screw on the elevator with what we're doing, we want the inspector coming in the very next day to inspect it and turn it back on for public use.
Is that possible to get them there?
Yes,
The other question I had, you said it is 3 to 4 weeks, or is it 8 to 6 weeks?
3 to 4 weeks.
Okay. And the other question I had, if one of those cylinders goes out, what's it cost to go in there and fix it with all the replacement stuff that we've done?
About $48,000.
If a cylinder goes out, and then you can still save everything else.
I'm sorry.
You can still save everything else that's been done.
Yeah, the cylinder work, it's a hydraulic cylinder that's in the ground as deep as a building is tall. It has not connected to any of the other stuff you're doing in the modernization.
Okay, so it'll just be another 48,000. All right.
And I don't know if you're going to need to do a cylinder replacement this year or 15 or 20 years from now. All we can do is you can't visually inspect this device, this component. We just do the pressure test every year as required by code.
Okay.
And it would be maybe one elevator or two, wouldn't be all 9.
I've never had 9 cylinders in the same community blow out at the same time. I've had one blow out, and 3 years later, another one. It's corrosion and rust and, metal that's inside the ground, so.
What's the average expected life of a cylinder?
It's hard to identify that because you don't know what elements are in the ground that's attacking, causing the metal corrosion. I've had elevators in the ground that had to be replaced in 8 years, and I have elevators that have been in the ground for 40 years and they're still running strong with no leaks.
And those cylinders are not repairable. They're done.
No, you have to replace the actual cylinder itself. A good example of what we're talking about, if you remember back in the day when you would take your car, this ages me a little bit, but you would drive your car and the auto mechanic and that shiny pipe would pick up your car. That pipe came out of the ground. That was pneumatic. That's air. A hydraulic elevator does the same thing, but it's hydraulic. It's oil that pushes that pipe out of the ground.
Okay. Number 8.
Who will be project manager? Will they be on site daily? Will they report daily progress to board? We have 2 construction managers that oversee it. There'll be mechanics on site every day. If you want them to report daily, we can do it. It's just time consuming. It'd be much easier if at the end of the week, they could say, hey, this week we installed the controller. This week we did the door equipment. Just be easier that way than stopping every single day and giving a daily report.
We can do a weekly report though, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we would want a report that would say, we're working on 201 and we ran into a little problem here, unforeseen, something like that. or we're right on schedule, or we're ahead of schedule, things are going well, that kind of stuff.
Yes, we can absolutely give you a progress schedule so that you know we're on schedule. And modernizations, we run into unforeseen issues. It happens. But we commit to, if we run into an issue that costs us 4 hours, we're going to work 4 hours overtime to make sure we stay on schedule to still complete it in the time frame. So that is something that we've always done, because we have to complete. Keep in mind, right now I'm laid out 6 months commitments already in schedule. And if I start running over a week here, a week there, a week here, a week there, I start creating a major tidal wave for my schedule. So we're going to work overtime. I've even had a few times we worked a weekend to get back on schedule to complete on the time frame that we've allotted.
Okay, number 9.
Does Maui have workforce needed to begin? Yes.
237 employees. Maui Elevator currently employs, and we have adequate staff to handle this project in the time frame that we've allotted.
Okay, number 10.
How many modernizations have you done recently? I mean, or like Tim said, we're doing a 130 elevator project right now. That's just one site. We have, I don't know how we've done the past couple of years.
Yeah, we're probably on a pace to do about 150 a year. And we also do 280 to 300 manufactured and installed new elevators a year. And that's been a pretty steady pace that we've had over the past, I think, 4 years.
And I know we talked about this at our meeting, but can you just tell us why it's important that we do the modernization as opposed to just doing the code updates? I know you just said cost-wise, but these elevators are going on 25 years now. So this modernization, I've read about it, I've Googled it, trying to learn what it's all about. And so what benefit are we going to get by investing in these elevators with a modernization?
So the modernization is going to be addressing all the vital organs of the elevator that help it to operate in an efficient way, help it to be reliable. And it's, especially in Florida where you have outside elevators, they're not inside, they are constantly exposed to the elements, to the humidity. And you're at a point, anything past 20 years, you're at a point where you need to do a full modernization because you're going to be replacing everything that helps the elevator be reliable. And it's also, in this case, going to be also addressing a code upgrade at the same time. Keep in mind, after, if you had an automobile that had 300,000 miles on it, you want to replace the transmission. If you replace the transmission with a new one, you're spending a lot of money to do that, but you still have the old engine in it. You still have the old brakes. You still have, by doing this, you're actually bringing everything up to the current code, and you're also bringing everything up to where all the major items or vital organs are being replaced. And it's time. It's absolutely time to do that.
And you're looking at approximately 5 to 7 or 8 months to complete all 9 elevators?
I'd have to lay it out.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I mean, if we started today, we won't even start the first 2 for 3 months. So it's going to be more than 5. So, you're probably looking, if you started now, you're probably looking at 7 or 8 months from start to finish, doing 2 at a time.
2 a year. Okay. And so then your cost, there was, I don't have the contract in front of me. My printer ran out of ink. So it's how much percent to begin?
Oh, the
Oh, it's
breakdown.
35% down.
35% down. And then the next payment?
Was 35% upon manning the job, and then 30% upon completion.
30% completion. So we've got 70% within 3 months.
Within, if you started 2 elevators, you get 30% when we man that for the 2 elevators. So yes,
Okay, so it's only for the elevators you're working on. So
correct.
each 2 elevators would then be 35%, 35%, and 30% for
Correct.
each 2 elevators at each
You
time.
would do the deposit would be across the board because we have to hire the other subcontractors, procure materials, but then you only pay the 35% upon manning job on the elevators we're starting.
Right. Keep in mind too, we don't want to have to restart the lead time for material. We're going to order all the material in the very beginning for all the buildings. Why do we want to do that? Because when we finish the first 2, we want the equipment waiting for us so we can roll right in. There's no more waiting. There's no more material lead time. So that's why all the buildings have to have the initial payment done, because we're going to order everything and engage with the other subcontractors to have them begin their work as well.
Okay. I got it. And then, so the final 65% would be for 2 elevators at a time.
Correct.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, how are we doing, board? Do we have any other questions that we've missed? I know Tom Kelly's been shaking his head no a few times, so if Tom has some comments, throw them in now, Tom. Anybody else, board?
There we go. Yeah, I guess I'll just say some things I've probably mentioned to people already. I still think if it's at all possible to have an independent property manager reporting to the board would be extremely prudent for us, given the size of the project. I think in terms of pricing, there needs to be a holdback of the not paying 30% when it's done, but have a holdback until the inspection's completed and the elevators have been signed off. And that normally would be at 10% at completion. And you could probably do that for each elevator.
Well, that's you're getting more favorable terms. You're getting 30%.
30%. Yeah. If you want to make it 10, I have no problem making our second payment 55%, but this is it. We did it to where it's more favorable to you.
So the last payment is dependent upon a clean inspection.
Right. Upon job completion, we're showing that 30%, not 10. So, and the completion is the elevator inspector inspects it and it's turned back over for public use.
You say completion, I don't necessarily assume that means inspection. If you're saying it does, then thank you, Tim. I appreciate the clarification. I assumed it did not.
Yeah, it does. And we can have Andrew just change that to where it's a job completion and inspection, just so there's no misunderstanding on that.
Okay. I guess the other thing, I think it would be prudent, again, because of cost, to have an attorney review and comment on the contract. So often vendors write contracts that are advantageous to them and not necessarily to the customer. I think it would be worth some peace of mind to have an attorney review the contract and make suggestions.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
I'm not asking for a lopsided contract. I want a contract that's good for both of us.
If you want to do that, give it to your attorney. Tell him to mark up anything that he wants to mark up, redline it. He can email it over to me and then we can review everything. That's the norm. That protects you guys. We have no issue with that.
We've been able to agree with a lot of things with other boards we've done this with. There are some things that we cannot, but we've always been able to find a happy medium, a ground that we can all live with.
The last comment I'll make, I guess, is just and part of it, I guess I understand, but the idea that we're going to pay $69,000, we're going to sign a contract to pay $69,000 or whatever the cost is for all the elevators. We know they're different. You're not going to be able to tell us if you find something that needs to be changed, you'll be kind enough to tell us that. That's a trust me kind of attitude between a vendor and the board. And that's, I'm sorry, but my experience with vendors, there's no motivation for you guys to give us any money back.
Yeah, I understand that. It's every motivation. Been doing this. That's how I do every one of my projects. And I know you don't know me from Adam. I get it. Not only do we identify the items, we take the president of each building and show them the items. There is absolutely no way that I'm going to have y'all pay for anything that you do not need. And you know, you can even have the inspector, when he comes to do the inspection, if he sees anything there, and you can even ask him. But I'm sorry, it's a lot of money for us to do this engineering. And that's why we decided to do it like this.
Tim, can you do the field inspection? Assume we sign the contract, you do the field inspection. Can you tell us before the work gets done what the real cost is going to be?
Yeah, no, I do it before I even order the material. Let's say you sign today, within the next 2 weeks, we're scheduling to come out and do all the on-site engineering. When we do that, within a few days of us being on site, you will immediately be notified of any adjustments to the quote as to what we found.
I see.
And
And
if
I'm
you-
trying to get a handle on what kind of funds we need over the life of the project.
Right, you need, the funds are gonna be, does this include the work by others?
No, that does not.
The funds need to be 69,975 for the elevator, and then whatever the fire alarm, electrical, and AC is gonna be.
And final discount, the bulk discount.
Right.
Okay.
So it's 140,000 doing 2 elevators at a time, plus the electric and the AC and the other
And-
thing,
And fire alarm, right.
correct? And then we would have to put down times 9 or times, well, 70,000 plus times 9, 35% to begin the job, to start. And then you get 2 elevators you pick out, and then you do your first part of the inspection, and then you come in and say, okay, elevator 281 doesn't need this, this, and this, so it's only going to be 64,000. Is that correct?
That's correct, that's right.
I would give you guys a deduct change order itemizing each component, and then you would sign off on it, and it would be to put it as an addendum to the already signed contract.
So would that be a credit and going forward to the next 2, or would it be a
No, we
credit
would keep,
to
we
the
would keep it
next
separate per
35%?
building. Yeah, we'd keep it separate per building, so it would be deducted off your next payment for that building.
Okay. And we would know this before you take your hammers and screws and begin.
You'll know it in the first 2 weeks after signing and giving us the green light.
Okay, any other questions? Cindy, John, Maria,
Good.
Cindy?
No,
Okay, do you, Tim, do you guys have any other comments to us?
The fire alarm, electrical, AC,
Nichols went out there, surveyed the whole property, gave us a quote. We use a general contractor that does all of our modernizations. So we work very well hand in hand with them with scheduling, coordinating, payment, everything. So it's not like this is our first rodeo with them. We've probably done over 100 modernizations with this general contractor, and they do everything in-house. So there will be no issues.
Well, you had said, Tim, at our initial meeting that we would probably save some money if we got our own electrician. Is that still true?
Yeah, it absolutely is. If you have an electrician you've used and you want to use, just keep in mind, I have to go back to Nichols because Nichols, they quote the fire alarm, electrical, and AC, right?
Yep.
And if we pull any of those out,
they might not be bulk discounting on their end.
Yeah,
So the credit might not be as
so
much.
if you want to go with your own electrician, we may have to try to go venture out and get your own fire alarm and AC as well.
And since you're contracting through, or Nichols is contracting through you, is there a possibility that we could get a across the board discount from him?
We have tried. Nichols has doubled their price for this work in the last 8 months. And we had a hard meeting with them last week because we're asking them why your price, and they just said it's just what the things are going up. I can't get anything out of Nichols I can't even get other companies to even quote on a lot of this work. It is the craziest thing with electricians and fire alarm right now. It is so difficult.
They've actually told us that they're only holding their pricing for 60 days now. After that, they can't guarantee anything.
And in regard with the electrician, as you had said earlier, if they go into, say, 271, which just had some major wiring electrician things done to it, will he, like you, say to us, well, this building doesn't need X, Y, and Z?
Yes, they're supposed to do a full survey.
It's already been done.
It's already been done.
It's, if you look at the scope of work, they already broke out which building. Like I'm looking right here. Like NC has no work to include or replace the mainline power feeds to the machine room, buildings 301, 291, 211, 201, 191, 181. So they've already broken everything out, what's needed and what's not.
Okay. And then everything that we do will correspond with, let's just say we do go with Nichols also, then we're giving them the same initial deposit as we're giving you.
No, everything is through us. We're going to pay them. You just got,
Okay.
you have to write one check. That's it.
Okay.
We're hiring them as a turnkey subcontractor and we'll pay them. That's part of why we ask for the 35% deposit. We go pay them to get all their equipment.
They won't even order anything. The fire alarm, electrical, AC, they won't order anything without us paying them. And their terms are not as favorable as the terms we provided you. Their terms are like 60% up front that we have to pay them, or they won't even order anything. So, you know, it is what it is. Like we need them to be able to complete projects like this. And we no longer have leverage to get them to give us more favorable terms, which we pass on to customers. And it's just the nature of the industry right now.
Okay, and we're, you know, we're still in disagreement a little bit, the board, to make this final call. And we're still working on the finances. So do you have a date for us that we would have to let you know by?
I would say Nichols contract or proposal to us was dated let's see, March 28th. So I would say by the end of May at the latest.
Maori's price, I can hold my price. I can't do anything about theirs.
So that was March 28th, March, April to May. That would be
So-
60 days from March 28th
Mhm.
for Nichols.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Anything else, guys?
No, I mean, you know, we'd love to get going and get our hands on those and get those elevators current.
Right. All right. We really appreciate you guys coming out here today. You've answered a lot of questions. If we have more questions by the end of the meeting or within the next few days, we'll make sure we get them out to you.
Yeah, just send us an email, any additional, you know, a lot of times meeting like this, after you all meet, in addition, it sparks additional questions, send them to us.
Okay.
And we'll do our very best to answer them. And if it's stuff from the Nichols, we'll do our best to get answers from them on them as well.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all for your time.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Andrew.
Bye.
Okay, all right.
Okay, we're gonna jump back to approval of minutes from March 23rd, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I move to approve those minutes.
Second.
John, and seconded by Cindy, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we've got those approved. President's report. First president report, I'm just going to try to keep it what we've already done. We removed the tree in front of 291. The palms, all of our palm trees were infected with whitefly disease, so we're having them injected with something, some kind of medicine or something. So that's going to be ongoing. Crowther has been contacted to come out and check 191 and 271 for gutter and fascia issues. I don't know if they've been out yet, but they have been contacted.
I saw them out 2 days ago.
They
I
were
saw
there
them.
Friday.
And they can
Great.
also look at our building, 281.
Great. Power washing, I'm sorry, I keep saying 271. It is 281
Yeah.
on the gutters. Power washing is finished. I want to thank all the owners for their cooperative actions, closing their shutters and enduring some spotty back windows. But I think all in all, it was a great job. We've had the fire inspection. They're kind of doing it very slowly, like building by building. And we've had a few things that had to be updated, but we have a real big one that just came across during the last inspection. And we have a quote from Summit. I think Erica or Vianney was going to try to get another quote for this backflow.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
I have a Wayne Automatic that's also going to provide me a quote for the backflow.
Okay, so we're going to wait on that. But it's an item that must be replaced per the inspection. So we really don't have a lot of choice
Sure.
here.
Is there a time limit on that? How soon do we have to have that done?
It was on the inspection, which I do not have in front of me.
I got
They usually give us 60 days or so. I don't think it was a lot of time.
it. Okay.
We're going to reach out to them and extend the time, right? I believe we can with the inspector.
The Fort Myers Beach, or is it the Fort Myers Beach? Yeah, we can just reach out to him and
Yeah.
see what it is. Because,
I think we can reach out to them and ask for an extended time if needed.
Okay, and then we talked about replacing the stop signs. Some are shorter, some are leaning, some are not legible. Were we contacting the town on that, Erica? Or were we going
I
to
just
do
need
that?
the size of the signs and then we can just contact, get a proposal from Fast Signs.
So, the stop signs are our responsibility and not the town of Fort Myers Beach?
Typically, yeah, if it was on Fort Myers side, I mean, we can follow up with the city of Fort Myers Beach, but they're on your property. So it's usually your responsibility. You maintain that area.
Do we
Right.
need signs?
Do we actually need them?
No, yeah, if we don't, let's take them out.
Well, I think we need them, and Ostego Bay across the street has them too, but they have like little fancy dancy ones and not big red giant ones. So I was wondering if it's required because it's a sidewalk on our side, so people are walking by.
Okay.
I think there is some kind of a code, but again, is it our call or the town of Fort Myers Beach? Is it considered theirs because of the sidewalk? And if it's our call, then can we get something other than a big giant red sign?
Yep, we can just follow up with the city. If you get this, I guess what sign that you're interested in, what kind of design, but usually it's the association's responsibility when it's on their property.
Okay,
Deanna, can you get us the code that states we have to have it?
Yeah, I'll look into that.
Thank you.
And for liability reasons, you should have it.
Yeah, I would just like to see the code before we do anything.
Okay, and then we had that exposed cable in front of 211. Do you know if that's been buried yet?
They have actually, from the last time I was on property, it was still there, so I need to speak with, which I want to speak with.
Mike,
Pelican?
Yes.
I did speak to one of their foreman guys just before I left, and I showed it to him, and I told him what we needed done, and he kind of gave me a nod and said, "Yeah, no problem." So I'm actually surprised that it hasn't been done yet, because
Yeah,
I
was surprised
did
too.
speak to them too myself. So. And then the last thing I have is something that I'm currently working on, and I haven't really finished it up yet, but I'm trying to put together a owner's email. And this would be an email that owners could send an email to. And this would not be for tickets or something that's broken or to report something. This would be follow-up. This would be, hey, I sent an email to Alliant a week ago and nobody, responded to me, or something like that. So just to make sure that things aren't getting lost or dropped or forgotten about. And it would be, the email would come to me personally, and I would forward it, respond, check on it, or whatever for the owners. I give a lot of owners that say, nobody ever called me back, nobody's responding, what's going on? I called, I reported, I did what I was supposed to do, and now what? So it would just kind of be a place for an email for them to follow up and say, can you look into this for me, because I'm not getting anywhere on it. So I'm working on it right now, and once I get it working, I will send a link to all the owners and explain again to them that that this is something that we're going to test. It's going to be a test and see if it works. And if it works, then great. If it doesn't, then I'll disband it and it'll be over. But just another place for the board to stay informed from the owners themselves. And that's it. That's all I have for the president's report. So treasurer's report. Cindy?
we have not received any new financials, and I'm sure Tom will be agreeable to get with me and discuss the monies needed for the elevators again.
Sure, anytime.
Okay, new business. We kind of touched on this a little bit, the backflow proposals. We're still waiting on another one, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna table that until we get the other quote. If we get this other quote and they're all within, the same time frame, can we have a quick board meeting so we can approve it, or should we approve it not to a certain amount now?
I would do not to exceed, just based on the time frame. And
Okay.
if it's more expensive, then you're gonna go with Summit.
Okay, so do we want to make a motion to approve the Summit, or not the Summit, to improve the what is this called? The backflow prevention device service fire system?
Are we going to get more than just one additional bid? I think we should have at least 3.
I'd get 3.
Pardon me?
I'd get 3 whenever I did work in my practice. I always got 3 bids.
I agree. I think we need 2 additional bids.
Okay, so then we don't want to
I want
motion
ex-
that this meeting, we'll have another meeting?
I don't think you need another meeting. You just don't want the bids to exceed what Summit had. That'd make it simpler. If their bids exceed it, then you're not going to get it done by the other 2 groups. If it's lower, then you might have a meeting to decide what you're going to do.
Which one we're gonna pick?
Yep.
So then we might as well just wait for another meeting. Vianney, can you make sure you get us that date for that that fire inspection? How much time we actually have to?
Look at the report and I'll let you guys know what that date is, what that deadline is.
I just don't want to miss that date.
Yeah.
So what do you guys want to do? You want to make a motion not to exceed, or you want to wait and have another meeting when we get 2 more vendors?
I'd just make a motion not to exceed the amount that Summit gave us. And if you get a lower bid, you're gonna take probably the lower bid. It's the same work.
Okay, so can someone make that motion?
I just did.
Okay. Can you say it again? It's $6,494.
Yes. If the bids, if as long as, we'll accept Summit's bid as long as the other bids exceed it.
Good one.
We would probably accept the lowest bid, I would think.
Can we do that? Is that good, Vianney?
Yep, I can do that. So not to exceed the 6,864.
Yes.
Well,
We
I
have
think, I think his motion was if they all exceed that amount, then we accept Summit's contract.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, rental lease rules and fees. We have touched on this a lot in the past year of meetings. We currently have a rules and regulations. We have a new rental lease form that we put together about 18 months ago. And we have added the $100 processing fee to the current forms that owners need to pay along with their fee. One of the things we're not doing well is I believe it's 72 hours that we're supposed to receive this form notifying us of a rental or lease. And we're getting a lot of rental forms in, like the people are already in there. They've already unpacked their suitcases and we're just getting the forms submitted to us. So I'm not quite sure how we would go about fixing that problem. I mean, it's not like we could say, you didn't give us 72 hours notice, so this is denied, when the renters are already at the pool, you know, enjoying themselves. So I'm not sure what our recourse would be on that aspect of it. And then the thing we've discussed over and over again is the fee, the processing fee, which goes to Alliant. By Florida statutes, we're allowed to charge up to $100. That money can only be used for processing the rental or the renters and the owner of the unit, and for nothing else. So that money is not used to pay for insurance or anything else associated with the association. So there was discussion about lowering that fee, keeping that fee the same, removing the fee. And there was also discussion about unit owners that don't get their forms in within 72 hours. Some of that time it's been, we didn't get the application, even though Alliant did on a timely manner, but we didn't get it from them on a timely manner. So it would be the timestamp that Alliant puts on the mail when they receive it, as far as the 72 hours go. So those are all the things that are in question with the rental lease rules and fees. Any other comments?
Mike, I have we first discussed this, it all began because we were told by our insurance provider that our insurance, a certain portion of that was increased because of the number of renters or units being rented out that we had in the association. And I think Wendy can check to see how many actual people were renting. But when it all boiled down to it, after we gathered our information, they still couldn't tell us, okay, it's X amount more because a certain percentage of your owners are renting out. They never could tell us. And we made multiple phone calls, but that was the whole reason. And the thinking behind the $100 was to offset the increase that we were paying in insurance due to the renters. And then quite some time later, we find out we're not even getting that money. So I was a little irritated because had Alliance set up front, well, you know, you can't have that money. I would have voted no. I wouldn't have voted yes.
To the fee. So Cindy, are you then saying that you would now be opposed to the processing fee that we currently charge for rental leases?
Well, they were doing it before with no charge, just included in our management contract. So why would we give them an additional $100 per rent when we're not benefiting from that? And are, you know, if they were doing background checks on everybody, I haven't seen any.
No, I
It
think
should be
the
in the
only,
contract that it states that this is Alliance fee for processing all of the applications. We're more than happy to have you guys do all the applications. We just won't have anything on file. And then you guys can collect the fee yourselves. But if you want us and our team to, you know, process everything and send it to the board and keep track in our system, there will be a fee, and that is in the contract.
But I thought you did it before with no charge.
No. There's always been a fee, and that's why in the past it hasn't. I think that's why you guys chose not to have Alliance do it, because you didn't want to pay. The association isn't paying. It's the tenants that are going to be renting that are paying. It's an administration fee, you know, that we have people that are hired for that position. So it is in the contract and it's spelled out of the cost.
okay,
But
and
if you guys don't want us to process it, that is perfectly fine. And we'll just submit everything to, I would say, Rosemary, your email address that you're creating. Whoever's renting can just email you, and then you guys can keep track of it and you guys can collect that fee.
no, and how much is the fee in our contract?
I'm assuming it's going to say 100. However, in July of 2021, we sent out our updated Alliance fees, and it was increased to 150 per Florida statute.
Yeah, but you can't, well, according to Florida, we can only charge 100. That's the maximum allowed by.
It changed last year, so we can increase it. You can charge $150.
Right, and I would be opposed to us handling it ourselves, because we would have to be then contacting you to find out if the owner is current on their assessment, and you know, if they have any fines against them or anything like that. So it's back and forth, which would take us some time to get it done. So I would be opposed to that.
But if Alliance do it, it has to be timely. It can't be once the renters are there if the paperwork is submitted in a timely fashion.
Right.
Correct.
And just because we stamp that, okay, let's say we stamp it that it was received today and we don't send it over to you guys like next week, we might be missing the payment. We might be missing additional information. So when it's sent to you, it's a complete package, not piecemealed.
Well, yeah, but we would have to know, well, because you're time stamping it when you're receiving it. And then sometimes by the time we receive it, like I said, the renters are already in place. Is there a way to get it immediately and say it's drafted or incomplete at this moment or something like that? So at least we have a heads up that the owners have met the 72-hour window?
I can talk to accounting and see what they say for that. But then once again, it's going back with the back and forth. You're going to ask, what's the status of this? And then Lillian's going to say, hey, what's the status of this? And then it's going to go back to you and say, you know, it becomes a middleman situation.
Okay,
So I'll see what accounting says. I can't speak on their behalf. I'm not the one who's processing it, but I know Lillian doesn't want to just sit on applications because she's getting phone calls. My recommendation would be to you guys is hold that homeowner accountable. Send a violation to them saying your tenants need to submit this, not your tenants, you as a homeowner need to submit this application per XYZ, you know, this is
We
what the
cannot
documents state.
But we cannot fine anybody if we don't have a fining committee, which we don't, you know, not yet. Nobody
It's
wanted
not a
to-
fine, Maria, it's a penalty.
Okay,
You can start off with that first notice and saying, hey, you know, a courtesy notice and saying, just as a reminder, you need to have this in by X amount of time for the board to review. You know, I'm sure it's going to be the same people that are repeat offenders in the situation.
okay, and you said that our current contract with you, did you just say that we just updated it? I mean,
I did not say that. I said that in July of 2021, we sent out the increase of Alliant, that, you know, page B or something that it is, the appendix that has all of the costs in it. We sent out to all of our board presidents and treasurers in July of 2021 with our Alliant increases. And Florida statute did increase from $100 to $150 for all application sales and rentals.
So I mean, of course, I'm new president here, so I don't recall seeing that, a notice that happened back in July of 2021. Did you notify us?
As stated, we sent it to both the president and treasurer. It went out to all board presidents and treasurers in July of 2021.
I'm looking to see if I can find it, but I would be interested to hear from the owners. We have 2 online, I believe, who do rent their units. I'd like to hear their input regarding this.
Okay, so we're gonna open the
Jay.
owner discussion only on the rental lease and the fees part of this meeting.
Interesting.
And we'll try to keep you to under 5 minutes if possible.
You're-
What is it for?
Karen?
Yeah, Jim just joined us, so he was interested in this whole, this fee going at $100. We are very good ourselves in putting the 72-hour paperwork in, but I understand it's frustrating when some owners don't follow that. We were very confused about this $100 fee to begin with, I guess.
Where does it go?
It goes to a line,
For a processing fee.
correct?
As to compared before, we just would send the forms in anyways. What
What
so
my
now it's going
understanding,
up to 150?
right, my understanding now is that even though we weren't charging this fee, the management company was charging us for this, for their services to handle our rental leases and forms. So I would say then at this point that the fee is again still processing fee, and it's to offset the cost that Alliant charges us. Is that correct, Erica?
No, it doesn't offset any fee that we charge you guys. It's a fee that we have for our staff. You know, it's Alliance fee for processing it. If you guys want to pay it on behalf of your residents and tenants, that's I guess that's a way we say that you're offsetting it. But you have your contract that you pay us monthly, and then if you want Alliant to process sales and applications, it's our fee.
You're saying we process anything before they sent the forms in and nothing was done, is what you're saying?
I'm gonna have to get with accounting. I know that before Ron took over, I think Rich did not want us to do anything with the sales and applications because he didn't want us to process them. He didn't want anyone to pay. And I believe that's been a back and forth battle. However, page 15 of your contract that is signed clearly states that the application fee is $100. The domestic background's $45. It's $45 for international. I mean, it's a simple You know, if you guys want us to process it, we have to have someone working on that. We have to pay their salary, so we need to collect funds to process that. If you don't want us to process it, which is perfectly fine, you guys can collect the $100 and process it yourself and keep track of it yourself. But like you stated, you're gonna have to find out, you know, the back and forth of, is there an account balance? Is there fines? But you can't fine because you don't have a fining committee. So I guess that's kind of a moot point, but you know, the account balance.
So my question still is, we didn't do anything with these papers. Like Jim said, they used to send them in and nothing was ever done with them, is what you're saying?
I'm assuming that it would be just sent to the board and the board handled it, but I'm not, I would have to check with our accounting department. Alliant didn't do anything with it because I know that last year when Ron was on it, when I was in between, you didn't want us to charge the $100 application fee. So we're not going to process something if we're not going to get paid for it. That is work that's being done by Alliant.
So for the past 9-10 years, we sent the paperwork to Alliant and they did nothing with it then.
I mean, I know that you guys have
Because
gone
the
back.
fees just came in, what, a year ago?
These fees have been on the contract since inception.
No,
It's been in
he's,
closed statute.
No,
He's-
the fee's only been for about 2 or 3 years now. Prior to that, when Jennifer Felt was the president, they removed that fee because no one was paying it. The owners, what happened was we incorporated the fee and then owners stopped sending the forms in because they didn't want to pay the money. So then they just stopped telling us that they were renting. So then we had renters all over the place and nobody knew who they were and we had no forms or whatever. So the current board or the board prior to me being president had decided to add it back in. Richard wanted it added back in to help offset the raise in our insurance. But we've come to find out that according to Florida law, we can't use that money for anything except processing the application for the rental or lease. That's the only thing that money can be used for. So we're
Right, but Rosemary, if you receive that $100 fee and you guys are processing the applications, the fee would be made out to Ostego Bay too, which would go into your operating budget. So you can essentially use that money. It's a processing fee. You guys can use that $100 for whatever you please. It's income to you guys.
if we do all the work,
Right,
if we do the processing ourselves.
right. Yeah, if
And
we're
again-
doing the processing, we're collecting that fee.
Right. And so the processing is where I feel the complication is going to come in, because you hold all the information that we would need to process each one of these forms. So we would still need to be working with you to get that information, because we can't get it on our own. Correct?
Right, but I mean, I don't know how much information you would want. We would have to review your documents. You guys probably don't even have approval or denial rights to essentially deny an application. I think it would be more of a who's in your building type thing. But I don't know how much information you would need from us, because there wouldn't be fines, and you can't necessarily deny a lease for a fine or a past due balance. You can, however, do a demand for rent. If you know that there's a tenant on there that is renting, let's say Maria's unit, and she's in the rears $5,000, but you would be able to look at the financials and know that, she owes money. And also on the web portal, it has all that information for the board to review. So you should be able to actually go in the portal and be like, go to Maria's unit, and you can see that she has 6 violations open and owes $5,000. You would be able to see that yourselves.
So let me get this straight then. So if you're not processing the forms, then we're processing the forms. Are we saving any money from you? It's not costing us any less to have you.
No, you're not. No, but you're collecting that $100 because you're doing the work.
Correct. But if we don't want to do the work, then you continue to do the work. And we can hold you accountable to make sure that we get the forms in a timely manner and the applications are done in a timely manner. I know. Correct. I've talked to some people, and one of the things is that they send in these forms and then they never hear from anybody. So do you reply? Do you say your form was received on such a date and submitted to the board? So when owners submit these things to you, you get, okay, Jake, you're shaking your head that doesn't happen. Can you unmute yourself? And
I get it.
First of all, I'm kind of stepping in on Tiff. Tiffany runs all of our rentals, but that's been her number one complaint. Like the last renter we had in, I'm not good with dates, but we have an email sent to Alliant 14 days before the renter went in. And then I believe Cindy told me that they got the form the day they came to the place. So clearly Alliant is not getting the paperwork over in a timely fashion and making the owners look bad.
Okay.
And
I need to know what's going on. I don't.
Definitely for emails. I mean, we have it. So
Are we
I don't know.
processing the applications again? Because I know we weren't for a while, so I need to find out. We are processing them again. Okay. So I mean, I can look into that and see what the status is with, you know, why it hasn't been done. I can bring it to Colin's attention, but I'm not quite sure of, you know, this is not my department.
Okay.
so we don't have, the only thing we have a basis on is we get the information and then I had just told Vianney to send that letter to Tiffany. And now that makes us look bad because they hadn't actually done anything wrong, but the way it was processed appeared that they had done something wrong. So I don't want to be sending warning letters to owners and then find out that they actually hadn't, it wasn't warranted.
Right.
Yep.
Jake, what is your address so I can get with our team and have them look into it further?
281-2.
221-2?
81.
Oh, 281. Okay. Yeah, and I'll find out from Colin and Lillian of what the story is with that and get back to you, Rosemary.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that Vianney is on this and she's way ahead of the game here and she's doing a great job. But then when we have her do something and she's so quick in doing it well, and then we find out maybe we should have waited a minute and done a little bit more investigating before we sent out a violation letter. So I guess there's, you know, we're damned if we do and damned if we don't here. You know, we've got what appears to be a great new property manager, and then we're misusing her talents because we're jumping the gun on something that we're misinformed about.
Right, and we can always just check with our accounting department, or the accounting department too, to see what the status is. To see if we have a lease on file before we send a violation.
Okay, I would still like to hear it and Jim have anything to say about the rental situation as is.
What the new form that they sent out, it just has the web address, and I had sent it. I couldn't attach the paperwork to it, so I had sent it. I used to send it to Lillian in the past, and there was another Laura Waklowski from Alliant, and she had sent an email, so I had sent it to them, the past form, and then I did get back a couple of days later that received. But where are we supposed to send it? It just has a website and you can't attach anything to it.
Can that be modified, Vianney, so there's a better communication, easier way for the owners to get that form in?
They can send it via email, but we need the check would need to be a hard copy as well. So, I mean, they can send in the application via email, but then the hard copy, we would need the payment. They can drop it off, or it gets complicated for people that are out of town. Because I've gone through this with one of my associations.
I should just take a picture of it and send it email. Take a picture of the phone.
Say that again?
Take a picture of it with your camera and then send it email.
That's the thing, but they don't have an email address. They just have a website.
Oh, okay.
So my question is whose email do we send it to?
There you go.
Can we modify our form so that it has the correct information at the bottom of it? Is that the problem?
Yeah, you can send it to apmsupport@alliantproperty.com, and then if you do that, it will have a tracking number and you should be able to track it. I do know that we are looking to try to hopefully go to online applications like our sales applications, but the company that we use doesn't have that yet.
And so what he's saying though is on our current form, at the bottom of the form, it doesn't give an email. It just gives
Okay,
it.
we can update it.
All it says is www.alliantproperty.com.
And that's just the website. You can't do anything to it.
There's a contact us on the website.
Well, if we could just
But we can
add
update it.
an email. I think in the past,
You used to go to
in the
Lillian.
past, it had Danielle's email was on there, and that's what people sent it to. It went directly to Danielle. If I remember correctly, that's how it was in the past.
Yeah, we'll put our APM support address on there, or Laura or Lillian's, whichever they prefer.
Right, just a little bit more information, make it user friendly, since we do have a lot of owners that are doing it properly, and they obviously want to continue to do that. So
Right.
I think if we try to make it as simple as possible, and I don't rent my unit, so I'm not sure how complicated that is, but it sounds like it's good up until the very end with what do I do with it now? So that's where we need to, that's what we need to fix. And I'd have to say that since we're kind of in disagreement, we'll until we investigate it more, we'll keep the $100 processing fee in place until the board can examine it further. Anyone opposed to that? Maria, Cindy, John?
Okay.
No, not at all.
No.
No, but we need to get it done because it's costing us $50 every time.
If that's right. Well, if that's the case. So Eric,
So where's the 50? That came from Alliance? That's their new price?
Alliance says their new price is $150. So if our renters are only paying $100, then the association's paying the $50.
well, the thing is
No,
that
no. The
No.
application's probably updated to say 150. I'll have to double check. I just saw one today, this morning, someone turned in a old lease form for one of our other associations, and Lauren Lillian says you're using an outdated application. So I'll find out about that with your guys's.
I know that one of the rentals in April, I know it was before I left, April 17th, it was just $100 fee.
Yeah,
Well-
we're not charging the association for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
my concern would be, just because the Florida statute now says it's $150 maximum, that's a maximum. And the fact that you guys aren't doing background checks or that kind of stuff, you're just basically making sure the owners are up to date and forwarding it to us. I don't think it would warrant you at this time to be charging $150. Maybe if it were a 1-year lease where we were going to do a background check, but for these 2-week, 1-month rentals, I don't think, I'm not in favor of increasing it at this time to $150.
Unfortunately, Rosemary, that's Alliance fee. We're charging that, not the association. So it's going to stay at the 150. There's nothing that we can do about it. It's been decided about. All of our associations are paying 150. So like I stated, you guys can do it. You guys can charge whatever you guys want, but this is Alliance fee.
Okay, and has that been changed on our form too?
I would have to get with accounting to double check to see what it says, but our
So
Alliance fee standard is 150.
The
Jake,
form that they sent out to me in February was the $100. So when did the fee go up? Nothing was updated. I didn't get any updated form.
They should have updated it. I will have to get with accounting. Maybe you guys are lucky and they haven't done it, but from my understanding in the meetings I've sat in, we changed it all fees to $150 July.
Well, we would have liked to have been informed about it. I find that really upsetting. You know, we weren't happy with the $100 fee to begin with, and now it's 150, and we were just finding this out today.
Oh, no.
Well, I've had no communication, so, about this.
I don't think we did either.
No, and now you want to raise it $50 and we're not even told? I mean, it's not fitting well.
Laura had sent me an email with a new form and she said, this is the new form last December, I believe, and it's $100. So
All right, I'll have to go with their side of the company, but you know, that's our fee is $150. So I'm not sure why it says 100 on there. I don't know if Colin worked out a deal with you guys in the past, but our standard fee is $150.
As of July of 2021.
Correct.
well, in December of 21, she sent me the form with $100. So maybe she wasn't informed then either.
She updated all the applications. So like I stated, I have to get with them. I'm not on that side of the building. I'll have to find out why our standard cost is $150 to process all the applications. So I'll find out why this is Alliance fee. Like as stated, you guys can process it. You guys can collect the $100, $150, whichever you would like. But my understanding as the regional director of Fort Myers, our cost is $150 for all applications. So I will have to get with their department head and find out why it's not on that application at the right price or what the communication was in the past. But July 1st, 2021, that's when the statute increased. That's when we increased our fees. That's
Well, yeah, we have to figure out if we were notified, which it doesn't appear at the moment that we were. And I would think at this point that until all that's done, it should stay at $100 until we get confirmation one way or the other, since we need to notify owners of this increase so that they're aware of it, which we have not done. So
yeah, I mean, I guess it is at 100, obviously, because that's what the applications are saying from two of your homeowners. So I'll find out from them and I'll have Colin touch base with you guys about the increase or not increase.
We have renters that we've already rented to that we have already told them $100. So now I'm going to turn around and say, oh, well, sorry, it's another 50. We didn't know about it. I mean, you know, it kind of makes us look silly.
Well, you've been approving these all along also and saying the owners are up to date. I would say at this point, we should at least be grandfathered in until the end of the year until we get this straightened out.
That's not a decision I can make, but I will get with my team and I'll have Colin get back to you.
Okay.
Well, it's a decision that can be approved through Alliance though, right?
Right, but it's not a decision I can make.
Right. Okay. But as long as it can be a decision made.
As stated, I will have Colin get back to you guys on that. That's not a decision I can make.
Okay, well, our request then is to keep it at $100 until the end of this year. And then this way it gives us time to figure out if we can process these forms ourselves or if we can increase it to the, or be comfortable increasing the owners to 150. So either way, because it doesn't appear, at least not that I'm aware of, that I've been notified of this as the current president or the new president. If we can just hold off until the end of the year, that would be the question we want you to ask Colin and see if he'll approve that or she,
Right.
whatever.
I'll find out and I'll get back to you.
Okay. All right, and owner, go ahead, Wendy.
I have a question for Alliant. When you're processing rentals, do you check with Fort Myers Beach to see if the owner is a registered short-term on that record, if they've paid into that?
I will have to check with the rental department. I don't think they do, as it's a homeowner's responsibility to do that, but
well, it seems your responsibility to make sure, knowing that the town of Fort Myers Beach has a requirement that owners who rent their units are paying in for that benefit.
we can update your applications to have them include their licensing like some other associations have done, but that's the homeowner's responsibility essentially.
Okay, and another question, as you are all approving rentals continuously, are you aware that Fort Myers Beach, because we are a residential community in a residential area coded by the town, we are only allowed to rent a unit for a minimum of 1 week per month. Our documents state it's a 2-week minimum. Now, I see revolving doors, which is causing us to lose our residential community feeling because we have so many people coming and going, like we're a resort. So are you checking to make sure that owners are only renting for once per month? As directed by Fort Myers Beach, as directed by our own governing documents.
Right, yeah, that should be checked by Lillian
Okay,
when she does it.
well, there are important things that need to be addressed and followed in order to preserve our residential community feeling. We're not a revolving door. Registered rentals must be on file with the town of Fort Myers Beach before anybody can be approved for anything, I believe.
Yeah, I'm looking at your rental application right now that I guess it clearly states on there in bold big letters, rental period is for a minimum of 14 days. So any lease that's received to send over to the board will have a minimum of 14 days. Max is 1 year, has the guest number, so no pets, you know, it has all, we can customize the application to whatever the board would like.
But once a month needs to also be on there. Minimum 2 week, once a month.
Correct.
That's governing documents, that is per Fort Myers Beach, the town. That
Yeah,
has to be.
she's very much correct on that, Erica. So you would have to add that 2-week minimum and only 1 rental per month. Because the maximum amount of times that a unit can be rented is 12. So by putting that limitation on it, we would guarantee that people would be renting for 12 or less times per year. So yes,
Well, we can update that.
that needs to be updated also. Thank you, Wendy.
But it was never, it was 12 times per year.
Correct.
But if I have a 2-week rental in two-week rentals in 1 month, but then there's some months I have nothing all summer.
No.
For a
According to
so
Fort
it
Myers,
doesn't exceed the 12.
no, according to Fort Myers Beach, that's where you run into that other part of this ruling. You're only allowed to rent your unit 1 time per month. So ours is a 2-week minimum, but Fort Myers Beach falls into the 1 month, 1 per month category. So there's 2 different entities that are responsible for the rules of renting your unit. One is ours, which is a 2-week minimum and the rules that we have in place. And the second one is the town of Fort Myers Beach, which has a short-term rental policy that precedes, is that the word I want? Our rules.
Supersedes.
Right. Supersedes, right.
Vianney, I looked back through July. I do not have an email about Alliance new contract, but I will comment that I have requested my email address be changed 15 times, and I still can't seem to get that through the whole scope of everyone at Alliance.
You made a request to change your email with me?
I have called Alliant before because I have other board members have gotten things and I didn't. So I would say, well, where is mine? And I would email the sender back, please update the address. Please make sure it's throughout the system. So the only thing I think is maybe I didn't get it, but I don't see anything in July about Alliant.
She did it over a year ago.
I went back to July.
Right.
Sure, we'll check our system and see. I mean, we have the constant contact, so we can see who opened it, who received it, and
Yeah.
all of that information.
I don't see it. So send me a new one, please.
Okay, and it wouldn't be from like, it would be from constant contact. It wasn't from any in particular person. It would be from Kim Glick if there was an email.
An obvious question. Apparently this $150 fee went up last July.
Correct.
People have been sending $100 checks. Why wasn't anyone notified? By a line, they were $50 less than they should be.
They got lucky. I'm not really sure. I will find out why we left money on the table. I don't know. It's not my department. So I will find out from them and see what happened. We went through and all of the applications were updated. I don't know why this one was missed, or I know maybe last year we weren't processing them. I don't know when we started processing them again. That could possibly be it, but I don't really know the answer.
Yeah, and I mean, I know a few months ago, I was left off of the emails for this exact thing for the rental forms where I wasn't getting them. That's when Ron was still here. So there were several times that I did not, actually, it was a long period of time that I did not get any of the rental forms sent to me. I was left off. And then when I was added on, I still didn't get the form. I just got an apology. Sorry, you weren't on this thing. So you might want to maybe redo the grouping that you have for us when you're sending us things, just to make sure that all of the different departments have the same grouping, so that Cindy's is right and mine is on there, and all,
Right.
All of the
We
board members
have,
would have.
we have a board distribution list, and that is sent out to all of the Alliant users. Unfortunately, I can't go in their computer and do it for them. So we do what we can, and I'll find out. I mean, we have, I believe
You're holding us to a contract with monetary values, and you're not even assuring that we're getting the appropriate emails.
Cindy,
I mean,
I'm going to look into it. We are able to pull up to see who it went to and who opened it and who it received. So I need to look into this further. I can't speak on behalf of why the application was never updated, and I can't speak on behalf as to why you haven't received it. And I don't know when you guys started process applications again and when you guys didn't.
Right, so if you just do a complete revamp and send all of your people an update and say, this is the current Ostego Bay 2 board member emailing list, through discard all other groupings, then everybody should be on the same page.
Right, and they have it in our system. So we'll send out a reminder email to tell them that they need to do better, because that's essentially what I'm hearing from you guys, is that our leasing department is not doing what they're supposed to do, or sending things to who they need to send things to. So.
No, and then you want more money from us for a job that's not being done properly to begin with. So it's an oxymoron here. So we'll just go forward there and fix it. And if Lillian or whoever is doing the rental forms needs any assistance, they can contact me, since I created that form to begin with. So the two things we're going to add is the 1 rental per month, 12 rentals per year maximum, and then the better communication, email someone more directly to send the form to when it's completed.
Okay.
They figure if I had a rental for the first 2 weeks of the month, and then Karen's mother wants to go down there for the last 2 weeks.
So that's different. That's a family.
So that doesn't affect them.
No.
No, it doesn't.
Okay.
Of course, we don't want owners getting around that by saying that it is family when it's actually not family. And we have had that issue in the past. We're trying to avoid, something like that. They're just saying, oh, no, that's my brother, or that's my so-and-so, when they're actually at the pool saying, no, I don't know this guy. I never met him before. I'm just renting his unit. So there are some times where we have had an issue with with that. So, yeah, if it's a family member, then it's a family member, and we're not gonna ticker about it, but
Well, if it fits the criteria that's stated on our document.
correct,
It's the status of the family member, who they are.
correct.
Can I say,
Sure.
Alliant keeps approving all of our renters, even if it isn't, we're always understood that we could do, what was it, 26 times a year, and then that was changed to 12 times a year. But if we have somebody coming in for a week, we send our $150 in, which we're learning that that's wrong, but Alliant's still approving everything. So shouldn't they do that?
Alliant doesn't approve anything, your board of directors does.
So I mean, it's a 2-week minimum. It's always been a 2-week minimum. If you go onto your Ostego Bay condo documents from that were issued like 25 years ago and look under rentals, it clearly says 2-week minimum, and it says maximum 12 rentals per year. That's not something we made up or added to our rules. That's something that was instituted 25 years ago and put into our condo docs, and it's something that we can't change because it's written in our condo docs. So we can't even change it if we wanted to. It's like the Holy Bible. It's like there, and there's nothing we can do about it. So if you go into there and look it up, I think I had it written down. It's like 3rd page, whatever. I can send you that actually, but it's clearly says that it's a 2-week minimum and no more than 12 rentals per year. And like I said, it's not something that this board said, hey, let's put this in the rules now. This is something that our grandfathers put in 25 years ago, and we can't.
27 even 27 years ago. So this has always been the case. And back-to-back rentals were never allowed, only minimum 14 days, 12 times. Never 26 or whatever, never, ever.
Okay, well, I believe you guys. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to try to argue with that. It must have been a lot.
It's in the documents. It's in the, everybody who buys a unit here has to receive the documents, and they do. Any realtor would do that. Otherwise, it would be actually against almost, against law, you know? So,
aren't those documents on Alliance portal?
Yes, they are.
Yeah. And you get them also when you purchase.
Yeah. And so it was the 12 times a year for all them years, huh? Correct.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's unusual because and not that, you know, you're a new guy and you know, you're like, okay, well, I haven't sat down and read the 500 pages of the condo docs, but it's interesting because Maria is a realtor, and so she's always going through our docs for her prospective buyers, and she's the one that actually pointed that out to me and said, hey, were you ever aware of this? And I said, gee, I didn't know that. And she showed me in the condo docs where it says that, and I said, wow. I mean, I've been an owner here for years, and I did not know that it says that. So it's on it's the condo docs section 6.3 and 6.4. The condominium property and owners are subject to the declaration. No unit can be subdivided. Common elements. Each unit owner, well, let me find the other one. This is the other one. Yeah, you'd have to go in there, and it says, it even says if your unit is rented, you can't use the pool.
Yeah.
So if someone's in your unit and they're renting it, and you just happen to be on the island, you're going to say, hey, I'm going to go sit by the pool for a little while. You can't do that. So there's a lot of, and these, again, like I said, these are in section 12 of our condo docs, and you can read them in its entirety, but, and it's not something that we can change. You can't say, hey, can you guys change that? No, in order to change it, we need, what is it, 68% of the
66 2/3% of the membership voting, yes.
Of the membership voting in order to change anything in the original condo docs. So we would have to put out a vote and better than, you know, almost 3/4 of the owners would have to say, oh, okay, that's a good idea. Let's take it out. It's not.
And it would also cost us quite some money to change it for the benefit of a few, you know. I don't
Right.
think that is something that, you know, people and owners would agree to.
Yep.
No, that's fine. Just one more thing. I'd like to. I don't have the email in front of me, but Tiffany got an email from Alliance saying that that was changed a year and a half ago or a year ago, that it went from 26 to 12.
No.
Me
Yeah,
being
that's-
ignorant is not an example, but if we're getting some stuff from Alliant and other stuff from the board, I'd like to prove my case a little bit. I don't think I'm really in trouble for anything, but you know, we're hearing one thing from one person, one thing from the other person, which I understand those documents is the Bible. So
Yeah, the
Well,
government documents
that's
are the ones.
for everyone, Jake. If
Yeah.
none of us are getting the same information, that's going to cause problems. So that has to be rectified. We should all be getting the same information.
agreed. And I'd like to show the board. I'd like to, Cindy, if you don't mind, I'll start emailing you or get an email list of the board that I can start forwarding these emails from to
Please send it to me. Yes.
Yep.
And because I kind of thinking to myself, I think I could check on this and we can do the processing ourselves. We will have to discuss it and vote on it and all that. But yeah, at least then we have a copy of it.
Well, clearly, and I'm sorry, Alliant being on this call, but clearly there's not much going on because I don't know what the $100 is going for. It's only $100 that we charge our renters, so it's not that big of a deal. But when they just okay everything, what's the purpose? And then when they send it over to you guys late, what's the purpose? But that's up to you guys.
It's flawed at this point, and you know, we kind of have to blame. I mean, it's the board of directors. We have to take the blame for not following through and making sure it's done. But you know, Alliant has part of that blame too. And then we've just switched property managers. We're now switched presidents. So there's a lot going on just lately. So and I'm not making excuses. I'm just making an explanation. So.
Yep, I understand. We were wrong on one of our listings. We said 8 people can stay or whatever. So I know I'm at blame at certain things. So I just want to get it right.
We
do appreciate that too. Okay, anything else? Discussions on that? No?
I just have a question. You're requesting more contracts to look at for the backflow?
Yes.
Okay, will these contracts be negotiated before they're decided upon?
Correct. We won't decide on a specific company to do this until we get all at least one more and hopefully 2 more. We're time constraint on that, and it's pretty much it's not like we're building a new addition or whatever. It's the backflow, and it's one item that needs to be replaced. So they should all assume that all of these quotes that we get will be should be in the same price range, I would guess. But we won't.
But negotiation take place on these contracts because, as you understand, you know, there's always negotiation.
Sure, of course.
Okay. Okay, good.
Okay, so now we just need to set our next board meeting. So this is April, May, June, July, sometime in July. Do we have that already? Did we already have that set up? Biani?
Yes, we do have them all set up. Give me 1 second. Of course, my laptop's not working with the calendar, but we do have all the dates set up. They were.
All right, I've got down here June 22nd. But this is April. So
End of it.
this meeting wasn't on the agenda because we were having the meeting to discuss the elevators. So
Right, we kind of got out of sync with the meetings as well. So,
Correct.
I mean, I think you're gonna have to have another meeting before June. You have to approve a contract, that's big. Maybe do a to be determined.
well, let's leave it at, can we leave it at June 22nd since that's what we've already approved or already voted on, or?
That's
Put it-
too late. That's too late for your elevator bid.
Right,
Yeah.
For Nichols, they're saying
Oh, right,
maybe.
by the end of May.
right,
So
right,
so we've got to get bids in on that
correct.
and now so that we can then have a meeting before that bid expires, or it may go up.
Okay, so we'll have to look at, like, May 11th. That would be about 2.5 weeks from today.
That's fine with me, as long as it's in the morning.
So Wednesday, May 11th,
May 11th, does that
it's
work?
a Wednesday. Does that work with
Same.
everybody?
Yes.
Same time? 10 Eastern?
That works for me.
Works for me.
Vianney, does that work?
Yes.
All right, so May 11th at 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock Central.
Okay.
Okay. And we're still waiting on electrical. Waiting on at least one more electrical for the elevators. Are we anywhere on that?
Yeah, I have to get that information. It's still pending.
We
Okay.
don't have any bids on electrical.
Just
The-
nickel.
No,
Did you
that's
provide
not,
us with?
that's not through us. Nichols is through Maori.
Yeah,
That
Nichols
can't
is the
count
one-
as our
yeah.
bid. That's through Maori. We have to get our own bids on electrical.
Right, and did they ever provide the scope of work? Because I know we requested it during that initial bid or meeting for the electrical portion of it.
Nichols does have the scope of work. Nichols does have,
But Maori got that bid. The price is going to be more to us going through Maori. So we need our own individual bids for the electrical part of the modernization or the code.
right. You were gonna contact the guys that did 271, our electric guys. What's the name?
Right, but we were Glaston or E-Electric, but we were supposed to get the scope of work from Maori, and I don't think they've ever provided it.
Well,
What
if you look at Nichols, it's a modernization. An electrician working on the elevator should know what a complete modernization entails. So it's,
But there was also fire, AC, there was like additional work.
I was
of that.
gonna say that.
that-
And we have to
yeah.
get that soon.
So there's
That-
not just if you just want to pull the electrical out, he stated it in the meeting today that he doesn't know what the bundle price will be.
Right. So then
So-
we'll have to do electric, AC, and fire separately. Is that what you guys want to do?
Yes.
Did you request, Erica, did you request that from Maori? That
Yeah,
information?
that when we were meeting in person, he was gonna give us the scope. So,
Maybe get on him again about it. That should be something we have.
yeah, they should be
or
waiting.
even if you can set up a call between those two and have them figure it out, because the last thing that you would want is us to be the middle person, and that message is misconstrued, and we're missing $100,000 of work, you know.
Right, that's fine, but Maury should be anxiously awaiting updated questions from us. So today would be a good day to contact them and say, hey, we're still waiting for this. And hopefully they'll.
Okay.
Rosemary?
I think we lost Rosemary there.
Yeah, we lost Rosemary. Okay,
Okay.
yes, we lost We had 8, now we only have 7.
Okay, John, you're up there.
So we have our meeting at May 11th, 10
Yes,
a.m. And Erica or Vianney, you're going to contact Maori about getting another, about the scope of work that needs to be done with the elevators, HVAC. And okay, so that'll be done. And I move that we adjourn unless there are other questions.
I second.
All in favor? Aye.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you, everyone.
thank you.
You.
Thank you.
Hey, Rudy.